EA is infamous for being a greedy game publisher that cares only about money and usually ignores their players in pursuit of a few extra dollars. Throughout the years, they've neglected several IPs, ignored players asking for sequels, and instead have continued to churn out NHL, Madden, FIFA, and Battlefield, along with other random games that literally no one asked for. Today we're going to be looking at 5 of the most neglected and forgotten IPs victimized by Electronic Arts. Coming in at number 5, I'm giving to Medal of Honor. Not counting the VR game, Medal of Honor hasn't seen an installment since Warfighter in 2012. I have yet to play Warfighter, but from what I placed together, most of its negative reviews were political due to the story being written by actual veterans about actual modern events. The game had a rather high sales goal of 3 million copies and only sold 300,000 in the first week. After a mix of political backlash and low sales, EA kinda just decided to drop rebooting Medal of Honor to focus more on Battlefield. But here's my biggest problem with the current state of Medal of Honor. You can't buy the old games anywhere, really. About a year ago, Airborne was delisted off of Steam, despite very positive reviews and good sales, leaving only the 2010 reboot and the VR game on Steam. And on Xbox, only Airborne can be purchased digitally. And on Xbox, only Airborne can be played on a modern console, so if you wanted to play European Assault, you'd have to have an older console to run it. The main point I'm getting at here is, I think these games should be more accessible, especially putting into account that Airborne was just randomly taken off of Steam about a year ago. I think it's pretty clear EA doesn't want people to be playing the old Medal of Honor games, but instead wants us all on Battlefield 2042. Coming in at the number 4 spot, I decided to give this one to Plants vs. Zombies. The series has kind of just sat dormant for the past 5 years with nothing really going on other than a Match 3 game. Really, EA? A Match 3 Plants vs. Zombie game? That is it? I knew you were bad, EA, but I never thought you would stoop that low to a Match 3 Plants vs. Zombies game. Coming in at number 3, the Skate series. While Skate 4 is in development, we kind of just have to hope it doesn't get cancelled like another game on this list. Between 2007 and 2010, the series saw 4 games, counting the DS/Wii title, and then it kind of just sat dormant for the past 14 years. And I know fans have been asking for another title for a long time. It takes 14 years to get Skate 4, but we get yearly FIFA? That's pretty low. Coming in at number 2, Dante's Inferno. A second and third game were being planned after its release and success in 2010, and writing had started in 2011. But after failed reception of Dead Space 3 and a cancelled Star Wars game, the development company Visceral Games got shut down in 2017, sealing the fate of Dante's Purgatory, or whatever the sequel would have been called. A couple of years ago, rumors of a reboot were going around, and I thought for certain a official teaser trailer was released. I specifically remember watching it, but now it's off of YouTube. While technically there isn't anything stopping development companies from making a Dante's Inferno game since it's public domain, it just couldn't be a direct sequel to EA's IP. And coming in at number 1, EA's Lost Lady, American McGee's Alice. Alice was the main reason I made this video because I am very passionate about Alice, and American McGee, the fans of Alice, and the entire franchise was done very dirty by EA. For over a decade, fans were asking for Alice Asylum, what would have been the third and final game in the series. EA had given McGee, the developer, permission to work on Alice Asylum with the condition they wouldn't fund it. But that wasn't really an issue since for years of development it was being fan-funded. But one day, after years of work and permission from EA, they pulled the rug out from McGee's feet, stating they didn't think there was a market for the game, but also refused to sell the IP back to McGee. So let me get this straight. You don't think it'll sell, so you're holding on to it? The real reason I think is very clear. McGee genuinely cares about Alice. He wasn't doing it for money, but out of his passion and love for his story, and he wasn't going to willingly fill it to the brim with microtransactions. After seeing hundreds and hundreds of social media comments, Steam and Xbox reviews commenting about this, and several videos and news articles about EA's mean decision, I think EA knows it'll sell as a game, but it just isn't a series they can drain microtransactions from. If they didn't think it would sell, then why even bother to keep the IP? McGee was so devastated to see his story he spent over 20 years making ruined in one day that he completely retired from game development. He said his legal team did everything they could and just couldn't find a feasible loophole or anything to get the rights to the game. I mean, it wasn't even costing EA a single penny since it was being crowdfunded, so it was just out of pure spite, I guess, that EA decided to destroy the project. Maybe they were just jealous that the fans were willing to financially support Alice Asylum over EA's own failing projects. But that's the top 5 forgotten and neglected IPs owned by Electronic Arts, a company that won Worst Company in America 2 years running by Consumerist. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and if there were any other games that you thought should have been on here. Thank you for watching. Jesus loves you. Peace.